here we're gonna have a great time doing it. So we're gonna wait for
gauge. I got it where I wanted at 35 psi. Now this may be a little high. Good afternoon, Defiant Jeepers, and welcome to another episode. Today we're going to have a real simple project, not difficult at all, but it is a very common accessory. You've seen this many times, is when that license plate is moved to the center of the spare tire. But here's a little trick to it. Where are you going to mount the bracket? You have your spare tire, a solid wheel, and there's no hole in the middle. So that's the obstacle we're going to overcome today, and it's going to be like super simple. We really don't want to deface our custom wheels because we know we spend a lot of hard-earned money on them. But the cap is plastic. If it's ever damaged and needs to be replaced, it's $35. It's a whole lot less expensive than buying a wheel. I am going to use a hole saw, and I'm going to drill a nice size hole right through the center of that so that the bracket can poke itself right through the center of the wheel, beyond the center hub, and to mount the other bracket for the plate. I've got my tools already collected. I've got my cordless impact wrench. I have my spare tire tool, my flip socket. I've got the key for the spline drive lug nuts that I'm using. And of course I got the Allen wrench to take off the center cap. And what am I missing? I got the hole saw right there. I got to dig it out. And of course I got the bracket for the tool. As a matter of fact, let me get myself a little bit more organized here, and I'm going to show you that bracket. Alrighty, now that we're talking about the bracket, here we go. Now it's actually a two-piece setup. You have the rear, which is going to be mounted on the where the spare tire gets mounted. So you're going to take off the spare tire, place this in this location. Now this is dual drilled. It fits both a 5-on-5 bolt pattern for the JK and newer, and the 5-on-4.5 for the TJ and older. So it's actually got a dual purpose on it. It seems to work out fine so far. Now in theory this is going to work. Now this is the part that, of course, the post is mounted right behind the spare tire. And then in the front you have this guy right here where you're going to mount your plate. Let me go ahead and put this down for a second. Now of course it's got the receiver just like a trailer hitch. Let me give you enough close up. It's got two set bolts, one on top, one on bottom. So when you slide it into its desired length and location, you're just going to tighten these down. Now, there are a couple other little things I want to mention to you as far as these. Now, they are going to be a specific length. Well, the nice thing about custom jobs is that if it sticks out way too far from your spare tire and you don't like the way the look is, you can always cut this. It's just metal. It's maybe 3/8. So you can put a grinder on it and just, you know, chop off the length that you don't need on both this right here and the receiving post. And for a little extra security on this end right here, you may want to drill a hole all the way through from this side to the other side and use like some kind of a large pin type shoot. I don't know what you call those one pins, but it's a pin that goes all the way through. It's either got a square or a U shape. It'll like wrap around the bottom and then hook like you would on your end links. That'll work as well for a little extra security in case there's a concern that these may work themselves loose and fall off and you lose your plate, which we don't want to do that. Just a couple little options there. I just wanted to throw those out there for you because, you know, these are a really neat design, a cool idea, and of course it really changes the look of your Jeep too. But while we're still talking about this, there is an up and a down. Of course, you can just mount your plate here, and it is provided with all 4 bolts. But the nice thing is, it also has this built-in bracket right here where you can add an LED light or a backup camera, which is a super cool idea. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to get myself together here, I'm going to go ahead and remove my spare tire. I'm not going to show you the step by step because I'm sure everybody here at one point or another has removed the spare tire from their Jeep. So let me just go ahead and take that off. I'm going to take this post. I'm going to mount it in the location where I want it, depending on the orientation. And then I'm going to put the spare tire back on. Whew. All right, man, that thing's heavy. Alrighty, with the spare tire off, I'm going to go ahead and select the correct orientation for this mounting post, and we're going to go ahead and bolt it on. Let me find a little towel or something. I want to clean off the dust over there. You know, every time I put something together, I take it apart and put it back together, I want to clean my area. So, hang on a second. I at least got these little shop towels. May not be much, but it's something just to wipe off some of that dust. Alrighty, now with the dust removed off of there, let's go ahead and select the correct orientation for this guy. And the only thing that's going to hold this in place is the spare tire. So we're just going to present this up against the spare tire mount and then put the spare tire back on. Now, you guys may make fun of me because that spare tire is mighty heavy and I'm trying to do this by myself. So hang in there for me. All right. Oh, am I kidding? That thing's stupid heavy. Hang on a second. Let me go get some help. Alrighty. I got me a little bit of help over here. We got Patty from V-Notch, but she doesn't want to be. All right. Help me lift this damn thing. Okay, we are good. Thank you so much for your help. I do appreciate it. Don't. That's my dirty shirt. Not that kind of dirty. All right, Defiant Jeepers, hang on for a moment. I am going to get myself a little resituated. I'm going to wash my hands real quick so we can continue with this install. Just be nothing but a blink of an eye. Alrighty, thank you for hanging in there. And yes, I had to wash my hands because I was like super filthy. But I always mention to you, always protect your hands, always protect your eyes. And in this case, you really should be wearing some gloves for definitely will help with some of that protection. But now that we got the heavy part out of the way, let's go ahead and tighten down that spare tire, and then we're going to see what we're actually working with here. We are dependent on the length of that post to mount or to tighten up this mount right here. So let's see what we got to work with, and it's going to help us determine what size hole we got to drill on that cap. Even if it's not feasible, we still need to see what we're looking at here, see how we're going to work it, see how we're going to play it, and then we'll take it from there. I mean, worst case scenario, I'll just take it off and don't use it, but at least I had to experiment with it to see if it'll work for me. And on the regular, yes, it'll work for about anybody, but these particular aftermarket wheels are built a little bit more different, which they are solid and just pretty much flat. There's not a dish or a dome. It's not concave in any way. But we're going to keep on going. Let's go ahead and tighten up that spare, and then we'll take a look at this from another angle. Alrighty, so on the norm, when you're finished tightening up your lugs to whatever your studs are, for the most part, these Jeeps up through a JK or a half-inch stud, which you can tighten those up to 90 to 100 foot-pounds. JLs, JTs, and anything newer, of course, they went to a 14 millimeter stud. Those you can go about 110 foot-pounds on the torque. We're not necessarily going to do it on the spare tire because it's just being held there. It's not in motion on the ground, creating revolutions. So that's something we don't have to necessarily fiddle with in this particular case. But alrighty, go ahead. Let me just change your angle. I want to show you what I am working with here, and then we'll see what our game plan is to move forward. Alrighty, let's take a look at what we're working here. I'm going to put this down. Now, first thing we got to measure is the center cap. All right, and what we're talking about here is the actual width or the height, whatever you want to call it. Let's go ahead and measure that. And this cap is measuring 15/16. Let's call it an inch. All right, that 1/16 thing gonna make a big hullabaloo difference. All right, so here's the next thing we got to take a look at. Where is the mounting post? All right, So now we're going to take a look at this mounting post right here, and we're going to go ahead and present it to a spare tire. Let me put that down. Let me adjust your angle. I want you to walk this journey with me. Okay, that's good. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and put it into the receiver. And that's bottomed out all the way in. Groovy. Okay, so now what I am trying to find is the distance of how far these security bolts are going to stick out, and that's going to make a factor on the size of the hole that we drill into the hub cover. Now we can either go a 2.5 inch hole, or we can go a 3.5 inch hole. So what we're going to measure to see where that 1 inch is from the mounting surface of the wheel to the bolts. If it's that 1 inch, we might be good. If it's less than, I mean like way less than that inch, we're gonna have to go to a 3.5 inch hole. It may look a little gaudy, but this large plate right here on the backside is definitely going to cover that hole. It'll still look somewhat presentable. So let's see what we got here. Let me see. Wow, it actually looks like that bolt is about 1.5 inches or 1.25 inches, which is still good. If I can get Patty from V-Nuts to come on down and give me her eyes, let me see how this would work, because honestly I think this just might do it. I'm trying to measure again because it's a 1 inch mark over here. No, dang it. Ooh. All right, now here's the deal. You know what? Hang on, let me talk to you for a second. Here's the deal. When you drill a hole, it is a PNR. And most of you military fellas, you know what PNR is, man. That's point of no return. Once it's done, and there's no going back, so there's no do-overs. So do we want to drill the 3.5 inch hole, even though you may not need it, it's going to be excessive? Or do you want to go with a 2.5 inch hole, but then realize the hole's not big enough? But once you use your hole saw, and then how are you going to use your hole saw to get to the next bigger size to get it nicely centered? It's really difficult, especially when you're working out of your own home, in your own garage. You really don't have those kinds of tools, and you're not a professional anyway. Ha ha! So let's see how that's going to work out. But you know, I'll tell you what, I really want to gamble on it because it is so close. You know what I mean? So close. Worst case scenario, you know what? Yeah, I could pull it out a little bit. No joke, guys. Yeah, that'll work. Let's go 2.5. Bigger isn't always better. I think we can get away with a 2.5. So we're gonna work it. Alrighty, so give me a moment. Let me get my hole saw, and we're gonna punch a hole right through that center cap. Hang in there, fellas. Alrighty, I think I'm all set to go ahead and drill a hole in this cap right here. It's still a little nerve-wracking, you know. It's you spend a lot of money on your wheels, and you don't want to destroy them. And oh, it doesn't look like my. Oh, good Lord! Let me reset my hole saw. It doesn't look like it's ready for me. That's all right. Let me get this set, and then we're gonna go ahead and start drilling. Alrighty, I'm actually glad I saw that. I guess I'm putting myself in a hurry over here, and my set nut at the back of my hole saw was actually backwards, so I didn't tighten up the rotator plate with the hole saw itself. But we are good to go now. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and put this right here, and I'm going to explain why I chose the surface that I'm on. So let me show you what I'm doing here. Where is it? Where's my foot? Okay, it's right there. Okay, so now I'm actually outside of my home, my condo, and there is like a lava rock or gravel or whatnot. I really don't have a place to work, but this right here still feels pretty level. And because it's sand and stone, it's enough where I can still, you know, go through with the drill bit, make my hole, and punch it all the way through without damaging any other real surface. Now I've already went ahead and I made an impression of the center right here. So this should be my PNR. Let's go ahead and give it a go. Now we are just going through plastic, all right? So it's not really gonna hurt anything. Okay, that's step one. I'm looking at the perimeter around, everything looks pretty good. And we are through. We now have a hole. I'm going to put that down. And let me change my angle for you. Much better. Alrighty, so all we gotta do is just clean up this area right here. And we're gonna put a little cover on there so it looks like a nice finished product. If I had like a little file or some form of sandpaper that could help me clean this up a little bit. But here we go. All in my center cap. I hope I don't regret it. All right, let's go ahead and make it back to the back of Defiant. Alrighty, right now at the back of Defiant, and just trying to clean off some of the excess shaving from the cap from around this hole right here. But I don't want it to look like some gaudy, ugly, oh God, they just put a hole in it and just left it like that. So this is what I did. In order to give it a cleaner look, I got a 2.5-inch grommet. It's gonna fit right in this hole. In fact, let me go ahead and put it on right now. And that is the whole intent of this grommet, to give it a clean look. You don't want it just to let it sit and look like, oh yeah, they just cut it and left it like that. That's definitely not the case. I mean, I've said this in several other videos. I'm not looking to win car shows or nothing like that, you know, but at least give it a clean look, a little respectability is, or make it presentable and respectable, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. You know, if I can get this in there. It is a new grommet, and this is pretty tight. There we go. Come on in, buddy, you got this. Every 2.5 inches isn't really 2.5 inches. If I had a workbench, this would be a whole lot easier. Unfortunately, I'm limited to my resources here. Maybe if I had a little bit of a wedge tool, that might help also. I wonder if it's the thickness of the plastic. Ooh, that's probably it, the thickness of the cap. I'll tell you what, let me, allow me a moment, I'll be right back. Let me see what I can use for some lube that'll help this climb in there. Alrighty, sorry about that little interruption there, but now we got it all figured out. That ring was tight and very dry, and of course with the thickness of the plastic of the hub itself, but I made it fit. What I did was I sprayed some WD-40 on the ring itself, in between the groove for the front and the back, and it made it fit nicely. You can actually see, well, yeah, maybe that angle works for you with the sun right there. It's got a perfect little ring on there, so it doesn't, you don't even see the cut. It's just a perfect little cutout right there. That's wonderful. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and back to the spare tire. Let's see what we can do about the length of the post. So we're gonna remove this for a second. In fact, I'm gonna put it right here. I'm gonna pray to the Almighty One that it doesn't fall. Where are my screws? There we go, my screws. Where are my mounting holes? All right. Actually looks pretty neat. And this is just the first part. We need to make sure it fits with the other part too. I hope it's center enough as I can get so I can get that post in there. Okay, so let's tighten up this feller first. This one. Was it that one? That one? No, this one. Here we go. Looks like my Allen wrench is a bit bent. That's right. We're not using for any other purposes than my home shop and these videos. So I think we're good. Alrighty, so now let's go ahead and take this receiving post. Let's slide it in. Oh no, are you kidding me? We need to get it. There we go. Ooh, that just might work. Let's pretend I know what I'm doing. Now y'all need to be careful with this right here. It is thin. It's pretty pliable. You may have seen complaints online or whatnot that they ordered it and got delivered bent or whatnot. A slight little bend, you can flex it back, no big deal. Mine came a little bent and I straightened it up, no problem. So let's go ahead and tighten up those Allens. I think it was this one here. That's super nice. Wow. Let me go and get the one on the bottom. It's very convenient to have these extra long Allen wrenches, and on top of that, they got the ball end the way I like, so they don't have to be like perfectly straight. They can still catch. Yeah. You know what? That boy ain't going no way. That's pretty dang slick, man. Wow. Sometimes I even amaze myself. That is awesome. All right, step number 2. Let's remove that license plate from there and mount her on here. First, let me get my Allen wrench for that. I believe it's this one. Let me double check. Yes. Put that there. Let me get a screw stick. And that's as good as any, right? Now, while it's out, let me put these screws in the ground. Put the screwdriver where it goes in the box. Let me grab my little towel. Now, of course, it's a paper towel. Nothing fancy to talk about. Just want to wipe off some of this here dust because it is pretty dingy. Spend as much time in the desert, you know, that we do with the club and whatnot. Everything's gonna get dirty. You know it is. Alrighty. It's so clean. Popo better not stop me, man. I'll tell you right now, it ain't gonna happen. Alrighty. Wow, that is super cool. Okay, let's go ahead and take out these fasteners here. Now, this bracket came with these 4, and the nuts in the back, they're welded onto the plate, so they're integral. So you don't have to worry about another wrench, just whatever tool you have for the screws. In my case, they're Allens. But I'm gonna replace these. I am gonna get, there's a security type that go in one way, but you need a special tool to remove them. I'm gonna select me for those. Because, you know, here in Vegas, everything is stolen. Catalytic converters, license plates, fuel. Yeah, man. Protect what you got. All right. Make sure they're gonna fit. Oh, they look grand, very grand. All right. And what's nice is these plates are actually have a hole, not a slot like some other states. Like my plate in Florida had a slot, and they're kind of like awful to put the screws through. So this is gonna work out just fine, just fine. Screw number 3. Well, we're gonna find a hole for that one or what? Huh. It looks like we're not gonna use it because the holes are not lining up with the holes on the plate. That's okay. We're gonna use 2. These, I got 2 spares in case I lose them. I still gotta find the washer. It's on the ground somewhere. I'll pick it up in a moment as soon as I find it. And I know me, my OCD is gonna kick in, and I'm like, "Where's my washer?" You know, that's all right. Worst case scenario, I'll break out my magnet and I'll sweep this place. But let me tighten these down. Oops. Sorry to put my back in your way, man, but I'm right-handed. I have to do it this way. Right on, there she is. Alrighty, so far so good. Let me pick up my paper towel, need to wash my hand. I swear to God, looking for that washer is really gonna bug me. Alrighty, and there you have it. One license plate relocation bracket installed with a custom modification to my wheel cap. And it's all relocated and mounted. Now, a lot of you are gonna ask, hey Steve, what are you gonna do about, oops, you didn't even see it from there. What are you gonna do about that mount right there? I have an easier answer for that, and I'm gonna give it to you next week. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it entertaining and educational. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and of course, join us on all of our social platforms. Join us at www.defiantjeep.com, where you can get all your Jeep performance accessories, camping gear, and other merch. We hope to see you on the trail.